What's up guys, it's Jasvinder here with my newest vlog, my video blog. So first, the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm sitting in the bathtub with all my clothes on. Better than me sitting anywhere else without them, because that's just not the kind of, it's not the kind of content I'm promoting here. Why am I doing this? Have I gone crazy? Has Jazz stopped taking the pills? What's going on? So this is a video about contrast, about opposites, about juxtaposition. So it just kind of struck me, what better way to do that than to create that in the setting of the video itself. So it's an experiment. I'm already getting uncomfortable, like sitting sideways in the bathtub. What am I doing? But it's a spirit of experimentation that I hope we can appreciate. So that being said, I am clearly not unwilling to look ridiculous to make a point. Call that the fruit of years of playing in rock bands on stage and wearing tight pants and stuff. So today's topic would be understanding the yin-yang binary, which is incredibly important and not at all obvious. When we talk about reducing things to binaries, it can often seem like oversimplifying life. It's an either or, it's a fight or flight. We try to get out of the fight or flight binary because it just destroys our subtler perception and intuition and appreciation and receptivity for life and its shades in between poles or binaries, right? We want a non-polarized, sophisticated grasp of our world. But at the same time, Tony Robbins said, and I agree with him, that complexity is the enemy of execution. I'll say that again. Complexity is the enemy of execution. When you don't understand what to do and things are too complicated, you don't take action. And life is nothing but what you do. What you do is the fruit of what you think and how you feel and what you believe. But ultimately, your results come from what you do, even if what you do is at the end of a longer process that begins up here and in here. So it really is about being able to see the world in a way that gives you the freedom to take action consistently and intelligently in the right way at the right time for the right reasons. And that simplicity can't come at the expense of intellectual honesty or common sense or true reflection on life. So the way you do that is by you reduce things to a yin-yang binary. What does that mean? It means that you've got the light and the dark as two halves, but there's that one drop of light in the darkness, and there's that one drop of darkness in the light at all times. Now I'm going to go through several examples of this, and I think you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. And I think this will be something that will open your eyes to how to live and move and breathe and have your being in the world simply but accurately and honestly. To understand that there's always darkness in the light, there's always light in the darkness. So first we've got giving and receiving. Well, I think this is pretty straightforward as a binary, that you either give or you receive. Well, why is that inadequate? Because we don't have this balanced flow of giving and receiving in our lives. Some people are just take, and some people are just give until they burn out. We got givers and we've got takers. So a binary is not a good idea. You've got to be able to do both. And the way that you can do the opposite of what your default will take you into doing is to realize that even as you're giving, you are receiving. And even as you're receiving, that you're giving. So if it's hard to receive and it's easier to give, see that you're still giving as you're receiving. If it's easier to receive, harder to give, realize that you're still receiving as you're giving. Let me explain. If I give to somebody else and I get this joy and satisfaction of this sense of service, then I should be able to receive because I am giving somebody else the opportunity to experience the joy of giving. You understand? If I'm receiving, well, no, I'll say it the other way. So if I'm giving to somebody else, if I'm being generous, if I'm trying to get over like a sort of a scarce kind of selfishness where I'm always trying to get, well, then what you can discover is what you get by giving. What you can discover is the real satisfaction and the real abundance of what you get when you give. You get the joy and the happiness and the feeling of, well, of the good feelings that someone gets when they receive something, and you can be the one to give that to another person. What you will get by giving. What you get by giving is an elevated self-image, an elevated self-esteem. You get trust. You get healthier, happier relationships. You get a sense of being useful and of service. You get the proof that you're capable of putting others before yourself. Now we've also got speaking and listening. What is the one drop of listening in speaking? What is the one drop of speaking in listening? When you're speaking to somebody else, most of your attention should be on what you're saying and how you're saying it. The combination of body language, vocal intonation, and your words, right? You should be paying attention to that. That drop of listening is when you're looking at the non-verbal cues of the other person. Or maybe they are responding verbally in your pauses. And they're either going to tell you that they're receptive, that they're hearing you, that what you're saying is landing, or they're going to be telling you the opposite. So you have to be reading them and listening to them as you're speaking, always, always, at all times. If you're just 100% speaking with no receptivity and no awareness, well, then you're just going to be off the mark, you're going to be tone deaf, you're going to be sort of bull in a china shop with other people. You're not going to have that sensitivity and that awareness and that responsiveness to them, right? When you're listening, you're also speaking. Now, there's two ways to do that. One way would be what we call active listening, which is when you're giving someone a nod of the head, or you're kind of, raising your eyebrows, opening your eyes up a little wider, like conveying interest, conveying enthusiasm, conveying that you're receptive to what they're saying. And that's how you speak to them while you're listening. Or you can say, yeah, go on. Or you can say, yeah, totally. Or, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Or, what do you mean by that? And you kind of go like, you use everything you have, your vocal intonation, your body language, and your words, to convey what you want them. You're steering them, right? You're showing them that you're engaged, but you're also adjusting to show, wait, like back up for a second. Like, what was that? Didn't quite catch that. Or, yeah, completely, that just happened to me yesterday. You see, even just with my eyebrows, how you can compound the meaning of your words by syncing up the body language and the intonation of your voice with what you are looking for as a listener, right? Now, the other drop of speaking inside of your listening is something completely internal, where you're hearing them, but you're not just leaving your ears open and letting it take care of itself. You're actively engaged. You're thinking about what they're saying. You're listening for where they're coming from emotionally. You're searching your own life experience so that you can put yourself in their shoes as you hear them, right? You don't want to just hear what they're saying. You want to feel what they're saying. And part of that is being engaged and active as you're listening. Now, the reason why this is a yin-yang binary, and there's just that drop of speaking or that drop of engagement as you're listening, is if you just turn into a mental cacophony while they're talking, you can't hear them anymore. So you're mostly just hearing their words, and you've got that one drop of inner speaking with yourself, sorting it out, rearranging, connecting the dots in your head while they're talking. But you're mostly on the half that you're on. Same thing with giving. If you make giving all about receiving for yourself, if you make giving all about you and how good you feel to give, and you really aren't even paying attention to the needs of the other person or being happy for them, well, then now you're a jerk. right? So you're mostly giving. You're like 95% giving with that 5% of receiving. And that's what makes everything work, is that little extra of the exact opposite. More examples. Active and passive. And we kind of touched on this with the listening part. But let's just say something like physical exertion or a yoga posture or weightlifting or running. There's always a part of every physical activity that is restful. And there's always a strain in being lazy. Ironically, the more you exert your body in the right way, I'm not talking about overexertion. I'm saying when you exercise, excuse me, when you exercise, or whatever kind of exercise it is, whether it's weight training, whether it's running, swimming, yoga, whatever, the more you work your body, the more relaxing it is to live in it. The more you ignore your body, the more strain and discomfort you feel to live in it. So in a life of being active and exerting yourself, then you get that drop of real rest, because your body is brought into balance and it's a well-oiled and well-tuned machine. When you are just letting your body go and not exercising it, not working it, not keeping it aligned, that's when you've got that drop of real strain. You see? So, tension and release. Tension and release. I'm a musician, I'm a composer, I'm also an improvising musician as a guitar player. And tension and release is a big part of what makes music what it is. So, where's the because you're going to a place that is tense, it's demanding resolution. That's how you keep it going. Tension and release, tension and release. Every movie is about tension and release. Every story is about tension and release. There's a challenge that has to be overcome. There's a dragon that has to be slain. The most effective kinds of tension and release also have elements of each in their opposite. The reason why you're forever cycling between tension and release is because when you get to that point of release, when the challenge is overcome, when things even out, well, there's a kind of boredom, there's a kind of meaninglessness in just staying there forever, and it will force you on to the next challenge. We don't want to live these meaningless, passive lives. We want to have our happy, restful moments, in a way, serve as the payoff for doing things. Not in that workaholic sense. I don't mean it like that. I don't mean it in the work hard, party hard sense at all. I mean in the sense of celebrations you have to give yourself something to celebrate. And then when you've had your time and you've had your moments being celebratory, then it just feels natural to settle back into something again. I had a really productive, really just, balls to the wall kind of week last week. And then I had a wonderfully relaxing weekend with one of my best friends in the world. And, we went out of town, we did wonderfully fun things, had great experiences, a lot of laughs together, and it was wonderful. And then I came back on Monday morning and it was like, let's make shit happen. I'm ready to get back in it. So when you're passive or when you're in a state of release, you'll get that drop of tension that will drive you back into full-on activity. And then the drop of release in the tension is the satisfaction of doing things, of getting things done, of moving the ball forward. You've got that, and then you've also got, this is an interesting one, further versus away. When you're going for it in life, this is a little bit different than the one I just said. Further and away. Further and closer. Near and far. When you're pointed in the direction of where you want to go, and you're doing it, and you are trying and striving, and you've got goals, and you've got a vision, there's two ways of looking at the opposite being present here. There's that one drop of getting further away. See, when you're striving and you're trying to become somebody, in a way, if you overdo it, then what happens is you've got that drop of moving further away, actually. Because you're depriving yourself of the peace of just getting to be. Don't be so busy becoming that you forget to just be. Now, the other way that works is when you are so focused on becoming, well, then there's that drop of just pure being that starts to grow. So you're growing your capacity to become, to improve, to grow. And at the same time, there's also that drop of just being relaxed, being unattached. Always be unattached, always be happy to just be you. Be happy that you have a life to live. Be happy that you get to spend all day being you, all day, every day. I love that I just get to wake up and be Jasvinder all day long. And that's not vanity. It means I don't wish I was someone else. I just want to get more satisfaction and more fullness out of this chance to be who I am. Because I don't have a chance to be anybody else. That is off the table. There's just no way. Nobody else gets to be me. I don't get to be anybody else. So as I'm striving and setting my goals on things and making sure that I'm moving forward and being on it and giving my life meaning and purpose and direction, and I'm trying to do less and less and less of what I find meaningless and doing more and more and more what I find meaningful, all the while there's that drop of real contentment, real non-attachment, and real happiness, actually, that is really just about, I'm happy just to be here. I'm happy just to be, just to have a life to live. And that makes me more and more in the flow in a positive way without forcing things as I'm making my effort. Now, on the other side, you've got getting further away and going in the opposite direction, screwing up, getting off track. Well, in a sense, you are gathering strength and wisdom. There's that one drop of improving and becoming and getting closer when you're fucking up. Because what you're doing is, on the one hand, you're not trying so hard that you're stopping yourself from screwing up, right? So in a way, you are kind of just letting yourself be. You're not just so obsessively watching the clock and the scoreboard with yourself. You're screwing up, right? So when you're screwing up, in a sense, you're letting yourself screw up. But but there's another deeper sense, which I think it rings true more so, which is that when you're fucking up in life, you're learning what not to do. You're observing the negative consequences of some bad choices. And maybe you're not in a place where you can implement that feedback, that inner feedback right away, but you're still gathering it. You're still accumulating experiences and distinctions from which you can make a better effort next time you get back in the game. So even when you're fucking up, like totally fucking up in life, you are still gathering wisdom. You are still actually getting closer, even when you think you're drifting farther away. The last one, and I will make this more interesting by explaining it in a bit of a sexual way, which is the idea of right and wrong, or clean and dirty. I think I've just said it, haven't I? I've just said it, haven't I? There should be there should be that drop of lust in a loving relationship. And there should be that drop of love in a lust-based relationship. You can't just be this Victorian saintly person in a relationship. That person and you as well, you have bodies, and those bodies have needs, and a person, for as much as they want to be loved and recognized and appreciated for their soul and their heart and their intelligence, their body also wants a good dose of, in that way, from time to time. Not all the time. Don't just treat them like a sex object. But if you're in a loving, passionate, adoring, sincere, like warm-hearted, committed relationship, what really keeps that going is to not forget to address the physicality of the other person. And if you're just being with somebody in a purely physical way, you still want that drop of dignity and respect and to acknowledge them for who they are, even if it's just a one-night stand. You can still do that. So maybe that was totally unexpected on my end, but I think it's good to kind of spice things up every now and then and to say that these concepts are not just for this super serious self-development, young grasshopper kind of stuff. Everything you do can be informed by this sort of enlightened, elevated thinking. There is such a thing as sexual enlightenment, which is not tantric sex or some weird shit like that. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Go ask Sting. I'm talking about the fusion of dichotomies, the fusion of opposites, the yin-yang binary model, where there's always a drop of something in the other. There's always a drop of variety that will make stability and security and routine sustainable. There should always be a drop of stability and groundedness and safety and trust in the middle of wildness, because that's what makes it work. So for whatever you do, ask yourself if you are bringing that drop of its opposite into that side. And then you will live a truly balanced life. Not a boring balanced life, but an exciting and dynamic and surprising and fulfilling life. So guys, thank you for your time. My name is Jasvinder, and I'm just really not enjoying sitting in this bathtub anymore. It's time to get out. My foot has gone numb. So guys, we'll talk again soon. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks again.